Abuse in a hospital for vulnerable adults.
I've already told you before, poison.
My name's Olivia Davis, and I've been undercover as a care worker. I am feeling a bit nervous about it, actually. I'm living a completely different life.
I think it's so funny.
I see staff who couldn't care less.
As soon as I started screaming, I just want to kill her.
House of monks.
Patients mocked and intimidated.
Punch me and see what happens. I'll put you through the floor.
And regularly restrained.
I had 3 restraints in the space of 5 minutes. It was manic.
I think it is like psychological torture.
It shouldn't be like this. 8 years ago, Panorama exposed terrible abuse at another hospital for vulnerable adults.
I mean, anyone who watched the television programme on Winterbourne View, like me, would have been absolutely shocked.
We were promised the mistreatment of patients would never happen again. That promise is being broken.
I wish I could look after it myself. God. Sorry.
It was supposed to have been stopped, and our children were supposed to be safe.
Jumps out of the bed and comes to us one day.
No.
This is Walton Hall Hospital in County Durham. In the last 3 years, there have been repeated complaints about conditions here. But whistleblowers tell me nothing's changed and patients are still at risk. They say they're worried about some staff abusing patients. So I'm going to investigate and get a job as a care worker. This is really it. I've prepped as much as I can. I think I am almost relieved that this moment's come. Hello.
Good morning, are you all right?
You all right?
Yeah.
Walton Hall is NHS funded and privately run. It promises therapeutic care for around a dozen adults with learning disabilities or autism.
Have you met Olivia?
Yeah.
I'm not on the right.
New starters earn £16,300 a year.
Number 9. Plus 4. 9, 10,
11, 12, 13.
13.
The patient's behaviour can be challenging.
Hey, 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 hey.
I don't need my meds.
You do.
Most are admitted to Walton Hall because previous care or hospital placements couldn't manage their complex needs.
No one gives a flying fuck about anyone anymore.
They shouldn't stay long, but many have been here months, and in some cases, years. Hello. Staff outnumber patients. Up to 27 care workers during daytime shifts.
And Olivia shadowing.
Along with 2 nurses and 2 managers most days.
Thank you very much.
Is it in?
I see some staff trying their best to care for patients.
Well, are you safe enough to go out? You're laughing now. You're laughing now.
My ghost is outside.
But it's not long before I'm concerned about others. It's 7:30 on a Sunday morning, as staff are about to go on shift. A patient who's been woken by the noise starts shouting from an upstairs room.
Can you shout a bit louder? I can't hear.
like the House of Commons, isn't it? Yeah. Like a House of Monks. You make a good MP, like, wouldn't you? You make a good fucking target. Oh, yeah. You continue.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. It's really shocking language.
I show my footage to Professors Glynis Murphy and Andrew McDonnell, two of England's most respected experts on learning disabilities, autism, and challenging behaviour.
I think if I was a patient there, I would think there was a bit of a conspiracy going on between the staff, the way they're standing out here smoking before they start work and laughing at us.
Yeah.
You know, I'd feel conspired against.
Yeah, and scared.
It's obviously a very deviant culture.
This care worker's called Niall. He's talking about a patient.
See that tiny, tiny car?
I can see it.
Guess whose car it is?
Who?
Mine.
This is the patient Niall's being rude about. Her name's Alex.
Can you sit in front of me, please, Olivia?
Yep, I will.
Alex is 20. She was admitted to Walton Hall 10 months ago, after her previous placement broke down. She's been sectioned under the Mental Health Act. It means she can't leave.
You're going to stay. You are detained under Section 3.
Alex lives on the second floor of the hospital, along with the other female patients. She rarely leaves her room.
She really spends 90% of her day in her bedroom.
Should I open the curtains?
Her days are literally spent just on her phone, sitting on her bed.
Her care plan says she prefers to be looked after by women. She's scared of men.
Stop. I've got a banging headache. That's finished. I need earplugs because I've got bad ears. And...
My colleague calls for assistance.
Can I have some earplugs, please?
Sorry, we haven't.
Two male care workers, Matthew and Peter, arrive. Immediately, the men make their presence felt.
Well, if you carry on screaming, what we'll do is me and Matthew will sit here and you two can go. Did you hear that?
Then, they send me and my female colleague away. Left alone with the men, she becomes even more distressed.
Do you want a jacket? Do you want a bike jacket?
I'm sure there's some in the office. Come on.
At the end of the corridor, more than 10 meters away, I can still hear her screams.
She not like two men on her obs.
No.
Alex's parents, Tony and Sarah, agree to watch my footage.
I just feel so upset that Alex has had to put up with that.
We don't know anything about any of this.
Because she wouldn't tell us. They're meant to be working to get Alex better, to move out of that environment, and they're making it worse.
Alex's parents also agree their daughter's face should be shown. She was diagnosed with autism as a toddler. By the time Alex was a teenager, her parents needed help caring for her.
This was at a photo shoot. I think it was her 16th birthday. She's beautiful, isn't she? She is beautiful.
Okay, Nanny.
She's clever, she's funny. She's happy most of the time, unless something's gone wrong and it's upset her, or she's seen or heard something that upsets her.
Did you hear what I said? You heard what I said? When the girls come back?
Yeah.
So you're going to be quiet now?
Yeah.
Because we'll just come back.
Yeah.
When we return to Alex's room, Matthew and Peter are inside.
That's how quiet is it?
She just doesn't like male members of staff looking after her. They know that.
Who's to move out of sight first?
They want to make sure Alex can't see us.
It was total intimidation. That was exactly what it was. It was intimidation to make her stop because they're two big grown men. It would just cause her to act out even more.
Do you want the women back?
It was massively distressing for the patient, massively distressing.
Matthew's now sat outside while Peter's still in her room.
Alex, do you want the women back? Yes or no?
He's taunting her. It's playing some extremely cruel mind game with her.
For me, it's all about control. And you can see that someone is distressed. You need training or specialist skills to know that somebody's really scared.
Then I hear this.
Slapping herself.
That's Peter snapping balloons
You're joking.
in her room.
She
Alex
doesn't do
hates
balloons. She
balloons.
hates balloons.
She won't have balloons anywhere
That
near her in case
balloons
they
will make her
go
worse.
bang.
If they anything to do with balloons, she hates. It's just disgusting.
Alex, do you like balloons?
Answer the question.
Peter tells me later he discovered her reaction to balloons by chance.
And the balloon one was just came off on the screen.
Oh.
I picks a balloon and she starts pissing about with it. She says, "Oh!" and stops screaming. What's that? Don't like balloons. Just doesn't like them. She started flicking it like that. But I wasn't on purpose.
He knows. He knows.
He knows that she don't like
Like
balloons.
balloons.
They've done it on purpose to wind her up, to make her angry and upset for their own entertainment. And the look on his face.
There's a yellow balloon. And a red one. Do you like the gold coloured one that matches your jacket? Right.
For Alex, the ordeal isn't over.
Alex, look, if we can, listen, here's Niall, and Niall's going to stay as well now, unless you calm down. So now you've got three men.
Then the conversation in the corridor just outside Alex's room takes an unexpected turn.
You know women? Yeah, I could do that. Lesbian for one day.
Yeah, I'm a lesbian.
Yeah?
Sexually explicit language within earshot of the patient.
So nothing would change really.
Yeah. It'd be novel really, because you get them to taste my juices rather than the raw. I could taste each other's. That's what
Would you get like a mirror and like spread them and look at your cash and all that?
Yeah. I'd take photos of it and sell it online.
And I think that's appropriate talk in front of my daughter. It's a hospital. They're supposed to be working and they're supposed to be looking after hospital patients.
This is Claire. We're not showing her face. She has mild learning disabilities and has been here for more than a year.
She's really young. She's got a wicked personality. All right.
Guess what I'm watching later?
A what?
Instant Family again.
You're going again? She has good days and bad days. This morning starts well.
I've not even brushed my hair this morning and it doesn't look that bad.
And it's good. But within less than an hour, her mood's gone downhill.
Do you want PRN or not? Do you want PRN or not?
I want everyone to fucking leave me alone.
Because that's going to happen.
PRN means medication when required. Care worker Saba wants to know if Claire needs medicine to help calm her down.
Is that a yes or a no? I need a straight answer.
One of the staff members is literally like yelling at her, yes or no, do you want it, yes or no?
Tell me, yes or no?
I don't fucking know!
And she's like, I don't know. So upset.
And I want to fucking go out by myself.
Oh.
Well, that can't happen.
You
know
fucking
Getting PRN
dickhead!
for that reason. I can tell you that one now.
You fucking dickhead!
Well, you're not getting PRN for that reason, so tell me the actual reason.
Instead of calming the situation, Saba makes it worse.
If this is about your family, I've already told you before, they're fucking poison. I'm fucking sick of saying She's just being a dick.
Who on earth does she think she's speaking to?
Yeah, it's totally inappropriate. Totally, totally wrong.
This person's clearly melting down. Yeah, they're not seeing that. The lack of empathy here, the lack of compassion.
You wouldn't speak to a dog like that. I mean, you just wouldn't.
Anne Early knows all about the mistreatment of vulnerable adults.
Hello, how are you? Come on in.
Her son Simon was abused at Winterbourne View Hospital. The scandal was exposed by Panorama 8 years ago.
Simon was a very different person when he came home. That's taken me some years to try to adjust to that. And that's a very hard thing to understand, I think, the long-term effect.
Winterbourne View was shut down. The government promised other specialist hospitals would be too, saying care should be provided closer to patients' homes instead. But most still remain open.
If this is about your family, I've already told you before, they're fucking poison. I'm fucking sick of saying
It's really hard to see. Sorry, it's taken me back a long time. It shouldn't still be happening. It was supposed to have been stopped. And our children were supposed to be safe.
Winterbourne View and Walton Hall have more in common than the mistreatment of patients. They used to be owned by the same company, Castlebeck. Following the Winterbourne View scandal, a company called Danshell bought what was left of Castlebeck, including Walton Hall.
I can't believe that anybody having bought somewhere that had the reputation that Castlebeck and Winterbourne View had would not try so desperately to disassociate themselves from the name to make the whole thing better. And they clearly have no interest in doing that at all.
Claire's having another bad day.
Would you like a pillow or anything? Would you like me to do a display with the teddies?
I'm with care worker Ryan, who's my mentor. When I pass him one of Claire's teddies, I'm shocked by what he does next.
If you had to pick one of them teddies to make the bed, which one would it be?
Don't know.
Stop it!
I'm a little red bearer.
He's getting all the enjoyment there.
Depends what angle you're looking at it from, because for me that one is not getting nothing.
Three days later, Claire's unsettled again. She's in her room.
This one's Dobby.
No, Magic!
Magic. And that's me. The legs have a three-way.
Ryan, who's lying on the bed with Claire, is with another care worker called Waka.
Come on.
This is my story. Turn it around the other way. There you go. This
They may be trying to show off to me, but I've not encouraged them.
How are you
Shut
doing?
up, Whacker. Shut up, Whacker.
You want a blanket? Yeah? You want a blanket?
I want you fucking out of this hospital.
Like that.
Working around vulnerable people, and you're talking such explicit, disgusting stuff. It makes me feel really uncomfortable.
That's it. It's just called drip. Right at the teeth.
It's unbelievable. It's so inappropriate. I can't believe I just saw it. Really shocking.
I'm almost genuinely at a loss for words.
Yeah.
Placing objects in sexualised positions, everything about this suggests that they're there for their own entertainment at work. It's almost like she's irrelevant in this.
During my time at Walton Hall, Alex, the patient who doesn't like men, becomes a regular target for some staff.
What's going on?
I think we should stay, get rid of the girls. So she doesn't
Every day.
When Matthew's on shift, he often finds a reason to come to Alex's room.
No? Bring him up just in case I have to respond. I'm going to stay here. Right?
Jumps out of the bed and comes to us, we'll take it. Alright?
Will Decker.
He's actually threatening her.
Matthew!
I'm not talking to you until you've calmed down. Can you just go downstairs and tell Karen that she wants 3 men tonight now? That's not, make that 4 men.
Matthew knows Alex doesn't like men, but he's pretending that more are on the way.
Do you need to make it 5 then?
No.
Okay.
Then, later,
Is that 5 men?
No.
I think it might be. Yeah, make that 5 men, please.
and again,
6 men now, please. We can keep going.
they even have a name for what they're doing. They call it pressing the man button, telling Alex if she doesn't keep quiet, her room will be inundated with men.
Yeah, it was me who invented the man button.
The man button.
It's like men. So if I press this button, all the men will turn up, and you don't want that, do you? No.
The man button. Just sickens me. Absolutely sickens me.
Tell Karen that she wants 3 men tonight now.
I'm speechless. Like, why? It's not only non-therapeutic, it's anti-therapeutic. They're entertaining themselves in this nasty way.
Do you need to make it 5 then? No.
It's like torture. I think it is like psychological torture because she's stuck there. She can't actually get away. It's a secure unit. And they are deliberately taunting her, deliberately upsetting her.
I would agree with Professor Murphy. That's torture. That's adding something to a situation to visibly cause distress to another human being.
After about a month at Walton Hall, I see little in the way of care and compassion for any of the patients, and I worry for them.
They just don't have the voice or the power to be able to say, look, I'm suffering living here. Because they don't have that voice, they will continue to live the way that they are. Not even their family members really see the real picture of how they're living on a daily basis. I mean, visitors come in and everyone's on their best behaviour.
Come in. Hello. Yes, bring me Paige. Bring me Paige. Hello. Hello. Come on, get your socks on.
Alex's family make the 320-mile round trip to see her as often as they can.
Do you need a plate and a cup for your food, or do you just want it in the bag? Plate and cup, please.
Today it's just her mum. It's all smiles to her face.
Coffee with 2 sweeteners.
Black coffee with 2 sweeteners.
Coffee with 2 sweeteners.
Yeah.
I'll make it. But behind her back, just downstairs, a care worker called John tells a different story.
I was a little cop upstairs, still screaming on. I didn't even work with a mate. As soon as I started screaming, I just went, kill her. Get on that fucking cop. That's Sue's, man.
Hey?
She goes through us. I don't even have to say a word. She wants to kill us. I'll rip you off fucking dry if I come to you and I'll fucking drop you.
I just feel betrayed by a lot of them. So they was presenting to us that they cared and they didn't.
Like Alex, almost all of the patients at Walton Hall are miles away from their families.
Sometimes we couldn't get to see her for, say, once a fortnight. So
We used to go once a fortnight because we both worked full-time. And on the odd occasion that we couldn't go, I just used to sit here, you know, so upset because I couldn't go to see her. Yeah, absolutely, that's fine,
I think it's one of the big challenges that we face. It can be partly because you're geographically further away, and that's a factor, but it's also the lack of people entering this place. If it feels more like Piccadilly Circus and that people are watching you, that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
At the time of the Winterbourne View scandal, there were 3,400 patients in specialist hospitals. When the government failed to deliver on its promise to transform care for vulnerable patients, Sir Stephen Burb was asked by the NHS to find out what had gone wrong.
The government said they would move people out of similar institutions within 2 years. 2 years came and went, and what happened was that there were more people going into such institutions than were coming out. So it was a blatantly broken promise, and I think there was huge embarrassment and shock at that.
Sir Stephen was asked to come up with a plan to put things right.
I recommended that the government institute a closure programme immediately. I said they needed to change legislation to introduce a Charter of Rights. Because I think we need to empower people, families, to challenge the system. And I said they needed to appoint an independent commissioner for people with learning disabilities who would investigate abuses and do something about them.
Was that enacted?
No. No, in fact, 4 years on from the publication of my report, we are still basically in the same position.
Since Winterbourne View, bed numbers have been reduced, but there are still almost 2,300 vulnerable patients in specialist hospitals.
I always felt that when I was doing my review, there would be other Winterbourne type scandals. There will continue to be such scandals whilst we have these institutions.
You want your photograph taken? Yeah. I'll take your photograph.
Paul, not his real name, is in his 50s. His sister lives more than 40 miles away.
It's not for me. It's for my sister.
He has learning disabilities and has been at Walton Hall for 6 months. He spends a lot of time just hanging around.
Excuse me, please, I need to get through here. You're blocking the way. Thank you.
You're in the way, mate.
He too is a target for some staff.
Fucking fat penguin he is, isn't he? Fucking shuffling about.
We friends now, yeah? What?
He's a patient that is the target of a lot of mocking. He gets quite irate sometimes. They know his trigger words. He has certain trigger words that set him off.
That doctor told him he was diabetic. I'm not! Sugar in his pee. I'm not! I'm not!
At 5 o'clock in the morning.
Today, Paul's being discussed at a staff meeting led by one of the nurses, Karen.
He phoned the police. Started saying about you being hit and everything like that. But they did come here, just have a look around, but nothing's come of it.
I don't know if Paul was hit or not.
Nearly rang the police at 5 o'clock yesterday morning.
Did he?
Said somebody had punched him and fucking all this crap.
That's just wishful thinking, isn't it?
The day after Paul called the police, care workers John and James are looking after him.
When I heard these two particular staff members were going to be working with this patient, kind of pricked my ears up because I knew that something might not go so right with them. So I went into the room.
Right. Go on, stop it, please. Come on, ignore.
This is Paul's private lounge.
I'm just going to shut your windows.
John goes into his bedroom next door.
No, he said.
Did he do it yet?
When he comes out, he starts whispering to James. He's done something because Paul's reacting, but I don't know what.
You what? Bring him in, do it, eh? Do anything that hurts? You punch like a woman. Get in there. Punch me and see what happens. I'll put you through the floor.
Then it becomes clear what John's been up to. He's taken down one of the patient's posters.
I've done nothing. All I've done is shut your windows, man.
You put that on the wall.
You've just seen us shut your windows, man.
The only reason that he was reacting and shouting is because you're antagonising him. You're standing there, you're making fun of him.
This lot definitely should not be working in care. They are the absolute antithesis of what care workers should be.
Then, having upset the patient, John squares up to him.
Let's dance. You want to be a big man bullying people? Yeah? Can't go up your toe. You get one shot and one shot with my own knife.
Newcastle?
Yeah. Right, I'll respond to that upstairs. I need bugalows alone.
Oh, here you are.
You're gonna make us fuck up like it?
I can't imagine how that must feel. Sniping, doing things that they know upset him. How do you deal with that? With someone with a learning disability, they just don't have that many tools in the box to fight back. It's hard to watch.
We're not standing in here. Are you really going to do that? Are you really going to do that? Too fast for you.
Paul's in the main hallway, hanging around again. Today, he's being looked after by Niall.
Hey, dude, back the door, back the door, back the door, back the door.
I'm not bothered whether you hear this.
Niall wants Paul to go to the lounge or his bedroom, but Paul doesn't want to go.
What are we?
Paul's getting more upset.
You will.
You won't.
I will.
No.
I know.
And takes a swipe at Niall.
I know.
Hey, get on his arm, now.
Next thing Paul knows, he's on the ground, being restrained. Patients should only be restrained if there's no other way of stopping them hurting themselves or others.
I am really struggling to see why they even restrained him.
They have a thing about control, and that's clear.
More staff arrive, including Ryan, my mentor, and Karen, the nurse. 6 staff in total, all holding Paul or stood watching.
Just in case you didn't catch it, you bastard.
Ryan's now holding Paul's head between his knees, leaving his hands free.
Anybody want some chili?
No, I'm alright.
Back the door! Back the door! Back the door! Back the door!
What is he learning? He's learning that people taunt you, provoke you, treat you like a piece of meat.
They're behaving as though he isn't even there, have a piece of chewing gum. Some poor guy being restrained on the floor and doesn't quite understand what's going on or why it's happening, I would imagine.
Paul's been held on the floor for nearly 3 minutes now. Then Ryan has an idea.
Karen, if he's this aggressive, you think everything in this room might be a bit of a rush and pull everything out? Yeah. Lie down shut, that's a good idea. Shall we?
Excuse me. Oh, I think she's going to use her room.
A care worker called Sarah, who's been watching, is sent to his room.
Yeah, make sure the CD player goes, don't look at it. Okay.
I can't hear what Paul's shouting as we go upstairs, but he's upset.
CD player, MP3, all this goes. Always got razors, there you go. Clock phone.
Sarah wants to make sure Paul knows what she's doing.
All right. We'll take these walk past him with him.
What, so he can see him?
On my back, you're in the office, open, right?
Oh, come on.
It's just so cruel because it's clearly being used as a punishment. You refuse to get out of the hall when we ask you, we'll restrain you, we'll take everything out of your room and we'll show you we've done it. It's another kind of control strategy.
Shine. All behind that door. Yeah, right.
Give me things.
You're not getting your things back just yet, mister. Absolutely no chance. You have to earn them back up. You're not doing this. No chance. You've been doing it.
Ryan's still got Paul's head between his knees, and now he's wearing the patient's glasses.
Keep your down.
Give me back, please.
Right, are you ready to get up to go to your room? But you're not having your stuff back yet. Yeah?
The restraint on Paul lasts for nearly 10 minutes. Professor MacDonald develops training aimed at limiting the use of restraint or avoiding it altogether.
Restraint should be momentary, it should be short, it should be with fewer staff as possible, without an audience. If there's no immediate risk of harm, you back off. You're talking a threshold of a minute or two, then let go.
During the 2 months I work at Walton Hall, there are days I don't see any restraints. On others, it's unrelenting.
I had 3 restraints in the space of 5 minutes, and it was manic. It was chaos.
It started in the dining room with Claire.
It's not your fault.
At the same time, there's another incident outside.
I need to stop.
By the time I get there, the patient's already being held on the ground. I'm then sent back to the dining room, where Claire is still being restrained.
Get off me! Fucking told you to get the fuck off me! Nobody is getting off yet until you settle.
All right.
We actually held her for 32 minutes.
God, that's a very long time.
Another day, and Paul's on the floor again.
When you're hitting people, you're staying at one part.
No, I'm not. I'm not in the elbow, right?
Fucking idiot!
Claire's being restrained again, too. She's being pinned to the ground.
Get off me!
I just think that's
1,
appalling.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members of staff there.
These are dangerous, dangerous methods.
That's totally unnecessary.
Panorama has discovered that in the 2 years to 2018, the number of physical restraints in specialist hospitals like Walton Hall almost doubled to more than 21,000.
It should be going the other way. That's certainly my thoughts. And when you give staff teams good training, it does go the other way. I suspect that it's just poor training and maybe even poor staff selection.
I'm looking after Alex again, this time with Sarah. She's an experienced care worker.
If you get unsettled mind, I am sitting back there, do you understand? She'll like me, she? Come on, me first, not you.
Why?
I fucking want you to tackle the cunt down, that's why.
Alex has a number of ways to keep herself calm. One is to say a word and have staff repeat it back.
Olivia.
Yes.
Good.
Good.
if you do answer Alex back, she's okay because you've
She'll
acknowledged.
say things she needs you to say back to her.
Just reassures her. It reassures her that she's getting your attention.
We're being good, aren't we? Yeah, right. White noise on them.
Instead of repeating words for Alex, Sarah tells her to listen to white noise through her headphones.
Sarah! What?
It can also calm her, but not today.
Listen! Alex, yes, what would you like? Go sit down on your bed. I am doing your notes. Back off.
Is
Right, go sit down.
Sis.
Go sit down.
Hi. Right, go sit down.
Alex starts hitting herself.
Go sit down. Go sit down. It's not hard.
She's getting distressed.
Sit down. You're not settled, so you won't be doing your tea at this moment in time. Right, well done you.
She's not helping her in the slightest. She's just making her worse. By not responding to her, not doing those simple things that Alex needs, she's sending her into meltdown.
Are you set?
Last minute.
Ryan arrives. He tries to calm Alex. It doesn't work.
It's so funny. Sit down. White noise.
Sarah tells Alex again to listen to white noise. But by now, it's too late for that.
Sit down.
Then, in her distress, she lunges at me. Sarah and Ryan rush at her and take her to ground.
I got legs.
The restraint lasts for almost 13 minutes.
I just don't want to ever leave her with anybody again. I wish I could look after her myself. Sorry.
I just find it really upsetting watching it. Because they taunted her. They refused to do things that they know keep her calm. They've watched her get more and more upset.
How avoidable do you think that was?
Totally avoidable. Totally avoidable. It's just tragic.
Where are you in it?
At the beginning.
Every time a patient is restrained, staff must write up a record of what happened.
Due to increased risk, Mabo
Yeah.
opens the time.
Mabo is the name given to the only restraint technique authorised for use at Walton Hall. This was my training.
We're going to take these arms out and we're going to hook them up over the shoulders.
By writing Mabo, Sarah is saying Alex was restrained using hospital-approved techniques.
Okay, and then just a man. Say so.
Ready to go?
But that's a world away from what really happened.
Who is going to believe her if she walked up to me right now and said, the staff provoked me, the staff pushed me onto the ground? Who'd believe her?
Their managers should be looking at these notes and they should be saying, that is not an adequate record.
But at Walton Hall, management appear to think approved techniques don't work. This is the deputy manager, Steve, talking to staff a week before the restraint on Alex.
First few physical interventions, it's very different from your Mabo course
You know, Olivia will see it's very like when they're standing like this and they're waiting, and if everyone's doing it like once let's all go down. Unfortunately, our patients don't do the Maybo course. They're grabbing, the punching, the spitting, the stamping, the twisting, the turning.
So he tells staff it's okay to say approved techniques have been used when they haven't.
But it's not the same. But it doesn't mean we have to like document it or anything different. So Maybo applied the start time.
If all you're writing is Maybo applied, nobody's any the wiser.
For a manager to say that, he's basically giving the message to his staff, it's open season on the clients, you can do what you want.
Before I started work at Walton Hall, whistleblowers told me some staff physically abuse patients. After a few weeks in the job, some of my colleagues begin to confide in me.
It's taken so long to really gain their trust and for them to feel that they can share information with me and have them believe that I'm somebody that is not a snake. I'm not going to grass on them, I'm not going to snitch on them.
I hear about a patient being hurt by care worker Wacker. I ask him about it.
As soon as the second end was arriving in my neck, you break down, baby.
He says he floored the patient.
As soon as the second end head first, bam, she be close.
This care worker says he saw it happen.
Man, you hold off here. Twice. We don't play with these guys. I know, man. Bang! What are you doing? Bang again! I said, waka, waka, waka. Wait, bang again! I said, waka, that's enough, man. Why? Do you see waka get punched? You see me get punched? What? Oh, these people. These guys say what we do to them. We're trying to traumatize.
And they're not the only ones beginning to open up. This care worker, called Darren, says he felled a patient using his outstretched arm.
Fucking clothesline the ones, just fucking bit of dick.
Brilliant.
Bang shit. Brilliant. Oh, yeah, she went to go past me there. Push. Right across the chest. Kick down. Bang. Fucking, she was laying on the floor going, ah.
6 care workers tell me they've deliberately hurt patients. Danshell, the company that took over Walton Hall in the wake of the Winterbourne View scandal, was bought last year by Signet, one of the country's biggest learning disabilities and mental health care providers. While I'm there, I'm told Signet has plans to introduce CCTV cameras.
When are they coming in?
I'm sure in a few weeks.
All right.
He says the new owners and the regulator, the Care Quality Commission, or CQC, will be doing regular checks.
They're going to be coming in and look at the footage and the cameras and make sure everyone's doing their jobs right.
It's the talk of Walton Hall.
The good old days will be going shopping in these fucking places full of cameras, isn't it?
Aye. So you won't be able to scared.
Okay, all right.
Staff are told the new cameras will be installed everywhere in the hospital, except patients' bedrooms.
It'll change the way we can handle them on the corridors.
Yeah, but it's not in their bedrooms.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it'll be... We're probably going to get the shit kicked out of us on the corridors more, but once they're upstairs, that'll be fucking some patients getting done, like. Definitely. It just depends how CQC are. If they crack down on a lot, we'll be fucked.
But care worker Niall says cameras won't stop staff hurting patients, even on the corridors.
The way around it.
How?
Right.
He says there'll be blind spots during restraints.
So can you imagine if you've got a patient on the floor and CCTVs, so if you've got a patient on the floor, see this wall on the floor.
Yeah.
Put your hand down, like this is the floor, okay? And you have one hand there, right? And one hand there.
He held my arm and he used his thumb and he pushed like the very, very edge of my skin against the wall with the rest of my arm. Yeah.
You've still got that bit of skin underneath.
Ow! Oh my God, it really hurt.
So it looks like on camera that you're doing fuck all wrong.
He's not the only care worker who describes how to hurt patients on the sly.
I don't like you doing anything serious. I've done like... But everyone is doing the right thing.
Then he too gives me a demonstration.
Just press in the shoulder.
I mean, they're a very vindictive, nasty bunch.
Yeah. You can put a lot of precautionary procedures in, but it still requires people to monitor. So you can take thousands of CCTV footage hours, but there better be someone who's checking that stuff.
Dudley. And tender. Hassle. Dad's gone now. Dad's seriously gone. Forever. Come out of here.
Staff are laughing at Alex again. But things look set to change.
Alex has got her shorts on.
I know. Wow. She does look very pretty. New clothes.
Managers are worried about the number of incidents involving Alex when men are around, so they've told staff she must now only be cared for by women.
Is that the rule now, that we have to have just females here? Supposed to be.
But when Alex is upset again, Matthew, who's just responded to her emergency alarm, hangs around outside her room.
Do you like balloons?
Sorry.
Weird, isn't it? Do you like balloons?
Sorry.
She's saying sorry.
So nothing changed, they just carried on as there was.
I'm devastated for her. I am.
It's night time.
After 2 months working shifts undercover at Walton Hall, it's time for me to leave.
There is nothing therapeutic about that hospital.
She's just being a dick.
It must be horrible day in, day out to live like that. And I can't see how that place is making any of those patients feel any more positive about their futures. It's just absolutely pitiful. It really is just a bleak place.
It can cost the NHS several £1,000s per week per patient for specialist care in hospitals like Walton Hall.
The money is there, it's just being spent in the wrong way. It needs to be spent on good community facilities, not on abusive institutions.
Since providing Signet, the owners of Walton Hall, with details of my evidence, 16 permanent members of staff have been suspended and a police investigation has begun. Signet told us it's shocked and deeply saddened by the allegations against staff at Walton Hall, which it recently acquired, and is cooperating fully with the police. It says the safety and care of patients is of paramount importance, and it has zero tolerance of unprofessional conduct towards them. It says it's transferring all patients to other hospitals and is absolutely committed to providing the highest quality healthcare. Of the staff members we wrote to, only Niall responded to our allegations, saying he categorically denies any criminal wrongdoing. Mabo, the company whose restraint techniques are used at Walton Hall, says its methods and training are delivered successfully in many highly respected organisations. Before I went undercover, Walton Hall had been rated good by the regulator in England, the Care Quality Commission, following an inspection in 2017.
What would you say to the families of loved ones who've been at this hospital and been mistreated, a hospital that you've rated good?
On this occasion, it's quite clear that we did not pick up the abuse that was happening at Wharton Hall, and all I can do is to apologise deeply to the people concerned.
The regulator says it had since warned the hospital about staff training, long hours, and excessive use of agency staff. But under the rules at the time, it couldn't change the rating. It's now completed the first stage of a new government-ordered review.
These hospitals should shut because they're no longer needed, but that was said 7 or 8 years ago and it hasn't happened. So it's delivering on that promise of providing alternative services where these hospitals are no longer needed and people are discharged because there's somewhere better for them to go. That's what has to happen.
It makes me quite angry when I'm now told, well, you can't close institutions because there aren't community facilities. At heart, it's actually simply an excuse, and it will be trotted out all the time whilst these institutions continue to exist and where people suffer what I regard as the most disgusting treatment.
The Department of Health and Social Care told us it's working to ensure more people return home from hospital as soon as their treatment has finished. Since Winterbourne View Hospital closed 8 years ago, Anne's son Simon has been cared for and supported in his own home close to where she lives.
He's a force of nature. He just is a force of nature. And I'm proud of him. He's an amazing son.
Oh my gosh. She dyed her hair.
She has. She's blonde now, by the way.
Is she?
Yeah, she's dyed it a few times since she moved.
Alex is now out of Wharton Hall after a placement was found for her closer to home.
We go in every weekend and in the week too when one of us has a day off. We could literally just pop round now if we wanted to. It's like a little self-contained bungalow and she loves it.
It's also run by Signet. It has an on-site psychiatric team and allows Alex her independence.
She walked round and she started crying. And I said, "Why are you crying?" She says, "I'm crying because I'm so happy and this place makes my heart sing." And that's what she said. Yeah.
Makes my heart sing.
Life for Alex sounds so much better now. But the families of vulnerable adults worry that unless care is genuinely transformed this time, abuse will continue.
I'm devastated for anybody it's happening to. Because pound to a penny it's happening to some other people. And it shouldn't be.
Here we are, 8 years on, still talking about how appalling it is. And it's still going on.
She must show all those clips. You must show people. I don't care what you show with me. You must show people.